10 to the 9th meters, 10 to the 8th, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
In 1964, Arthur C. Clarke stood in front of a camera at the New York World's Fair and predicted the future. Commissioned by the BBC, Arthur's episode, titled The Knowledge Explosion, was set to unpack what the latest scientific advancements meant for society. It was an uncertain time. An emerging space race, nuclear tension, early computing, making the World's Fair an apt location for Arthur's predictions. Over 50 million visitors roaming the 600 acres of Flushing Meadows Park in Queens, trying to understand what technologies like the computer would mean for their daily lives, if the computer was something to revere or fear. 62 years on, here we are. Machine intelligence arrived, just as Arthur predicted it would, and we are asking ourselves the very same questions. What will humans do as computers get smarter? What's our purpose? What happens to the economy? Have we invented our destroyers? The difference between now and 1964 is that these questions aren't about predicting our distant future. They're about responding to a future that's being invented right now, one that feels more conflicting and contradictory than ever before. Let's begin at the inflection point. Late last year, AI agents crossed a coherence threshold and started working, literally and figuratively. With the arrival of Claude Code and Opus 4.5, agents suddenly seemed capable of doing things they couldn't do before. They were using tools and completing tasks, some of which took hours. The most immediate ripple effects of this capability crossing are in software engineering. AI now writes 75% of all new code at Google, up from 25% 18 months ago. Startups report that their best engineers' productivity levels are 10 to 20x higher with AI coding tools. On the one hand, the industry welcomes this shift. Token maxing has become the new status game. OpenAI and Meta employees compete on internal leaderboards for how many AI tokens they're using, numbers of which are in the hundreds of billions. Software engineers claim or quip at parties that they are replacing themselves with Claude Code. Yet, it's not entirely a joke. While the number of job postings for software engineers is rapidly rising, nearly a third of surveyed Anthropic staff claim that their Mythos preview model could replace junior engineers and researchers within 3 months. Block laid off 40% of its staff in February. 2 weeks ago, Cloudflare announced plans to remove over 1,000 roles, and Meta's layoffs came into effect just yesterday, all citing AI. Gen Z workers are reportedly so fearful that AI will take their jobs that they're actively sabotaging their company's AI rollouts. FOBO, the fear of becoming obsolete, is officially the new FOMO. The economics are just as contradictory. No one really knows what token capacity and pricing will look like a few years from now. All we do know is that token usage is exploding, while inference is getting cheaper just as fast. OpenAI's APIs went from processing 6 billion tokens per minute in October to 15 billion tokens in April. That's more than double. At the same time, the cost per token is halving roughly every 3 months. And the Chinese labs keep challenging the idea that more compute is the only path to building better models. So the frontier labs are spending hundreds of billions on building a moat that may be getting cheaper to cross. And yet, big tech capex still seems capless, investment rounds boundless. If you're a frontier lab or member of the Magic 7, compute is the single most scarce, precious resource in the world right now. If you're Michael Burry, it's a supply monopoly masquerading as a demand-driven revolution. Who do you believe? Pick your prophecy, and with it, your identity. Then there's the politics. Anthropic says no to the US government and gets banned. OpenAI says yes, almost immediately. Both companies, they say they're building AI for the benefit of humanity. Meanwhile, the AI founders secretly, or not so secretly, hate each other and sue each other in a self-proclaimed Shakespearean drama. Does the truth even matter anymore? Have we completely lost sight of reality? Because reality is starting to look pretty strange. Japanese toilet maker Toto has ramped up its ceramics production to build semiconductor components. Allbirds has swapped shoemaking for building AI compute infrastructure. Their stock went up 582%. But don't worry, you can replace your Allbirds with Shift Robotics' AI-powered drive train sneakers. We have officially reached peak absurdity. Artificial, general absurdity. And faced with the absurd nature of our present reality, we can do three things. We can laugh, we can despair, and we can act. I vote for 1 and 3. You see, humans are good at acting futures into existence if we want them enough. So what kind of future do we want exactly? When we hosted the first Sana AI Summit in 2023 in Sana's hometown of Stockholm, we didn't know what kind of future AI would bring. All we knew was that the tech industry couldn't afford to shape it alone. So we endeavored to gather some of the world's greatest minds in robotics, economics, machine learning, computer science, physics, biology, philosophy, literature, and beyond, in the hope that together we might inspire and challenge each other to invent better possible futures. 3 years on, that intention feels more relevant than ever. Here we are. Here you are. Welcome to Sana AI Summit 2026.